let's move on to main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Russell Amador, who writes, well, the New Mutants presentation has come and gone. Of course, New Mutants just did a panel at the Comic-Con at home yesterday. The New Mutants presentation has come and gone with no indication of VOD release, as they still seem bent on a theatrical release. But they did show some new footage. The footage was something to hold the fans over, and as someone who's been impatiently waiting for its release, it did not disappoint. Did you get a chance to watch the new footage? Has the excitement increased or decreased? Thanks. All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, a lot of people were waiting very anxiously for the New Mutants panel yesterday because a lot of people expected to get some firm announcements about when this movie's going to come and where it's going to come. Some people thought they were going to move it on to VOD. I've been saying for a couple of weeks, don't expect that to happen, although it wasn't impossible, but there were contractual obligations in the way and all that kind of stuff. So unsurprisingly, they're keeping it to theatrical release. However, what did surprise me was the fact that they have announced they are keeping the August 28th release date. If you've watched my show for the last little bit, I have said, well, one of the things that we know 100% for sure was going to happen at this panel is they're going to announce a brand new release date. That much for sure is going to happen. Wrong. They didn't. They're keeping the August 28th release date, according to them. Anyway, this report comes to us from The Verge, who writes, The New Mutants is apparently still on track to hit theaters on August 28th, even as Tenet and Mulan face indefinite delays. We'll talk about the Mulan one in just a minute. Details on the film's theatrical plans come from the New Mutants panel at Comic-Con at Home, the digital version of the annual San Diego Festival, where the cast gathered to talk about the film. The panel opens with a cheeky reminder that the movie would open in theaters on August 28th. It should also be mentioned that in this announcement, where this graphic opens August 28th, they had these little fingers crossed images on there too, saying fingers crossed. But yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I knew they were going to keep a theatrical, but I was shocked to hear that they were going to keep the August 28th release date. There's two different ways of looking at this. The first way of looking at this is, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, Mulan just moved. Everything else is moving. We just had September movies, Quiet Place 2. We just had September movies get moved. We're talking August 28th. Now, granted, that's still a month and a half away. We're a little over a month away now. It's just a little over a month away now. So I get it. That's fine. But while everything else, Tenet just moved out, Mulan just moved out, Quiet Place moved, everything's moving back. And yet they say they're going to keep August 28th. So that's the one part of my brain. But Rob, I actually have another theory about why they very well may keep this August 28th date. So here's my theory. Tell me what you think about this.
Intriguing.
There are, right now as we speak, a number of movie theaters are open across our country. As of right now, there are. As of right now, AMC Theaters is saying they are going to reopen their doors mid-August. Do they stick to that? That's another question. But right now, for any rate, chains like Regal, AMC, they're still saying they're going to be open at some point in August, whether that's mid to late, whatever. We also know that this movie has been, for all, intents and purposes, cursed. This movie's been cursed. This movie finished production over 3 years ago. They finished making this movie over 3 years ago. It has been delayed and delayed and delayed. Rob, here's my theory right now about what they might be thinking. Disney is, I think, committed to making this thing theatrical. They have contractual obligations to making this thing theatrical. Here's my thought. Disney may be looking at New Mutants just thinking, you know what? Hell or high water. Whatever theaters there are open on August 28th, it's time. It's time. This is what I'm thinking are the conversations going on over at Disney right now. It's just time. It's years and years this thing has been delayed. Let's just take on August 28th, let's fulfill our contractual obligations. Let's take whatever movie theaters there are that are open. We understand we're going to take a hit, but this is a movie that got produced before we even took over Fox. At some point, we got to get this out. We've got to meet our contractual obligations. Let's just take whatever theaters do have their doors open, whether that's 400 theaters, whether that's 1,000 theaters, whether that's 200 theaters, and let's just release it. And then 3 or 4 months later, after the theatrical window is done and we fulfilled our contractual obligations, then let's put it out on streaming after that. So that way we've put it out theatrically. We've done our part to help support the theaters. We've met our obligations to all the people we signed a contract saying that this will get a theatrical release. And it means in 3 or 4 months, then we can put it out on VOD. So it may not actually be all that crazy that they may actually be looking at doing this for August 28th. Still a massive, massive chance, though, that it gets bumped again. But I don't know, Rob, you heard the announcement. You've heard my crazy theory. What do you think about all this, and where do you think they may land on this right now?
Well, first of all, I watched the panel, and it started out, the panel started out with them making fun of the release date changes.
Yes.
It was awesome. And I think you're probably bang on with your theory. I think look, Disney didn't pay for this movie. They're not incurring interest charges, or maybe they are. I mean, they already bought Fox.
Yes, they are now. Yeah, they're responsible for the debts now.
I think that here's a film of all movies, it's the last vestige of a franchise that they want to reboot anyway. I mean, you think Kevin Feige's like, every time you delay New Mutants, that means that's harder for me to have my mutant franchise or whatever. But I think you're right. I think that if nothing else, Disney has a product that people want to see that is minimal financial risk to them. No one's going to have egg on their face if it doesn't make money. But it shows goodwill to all the exhibitors around the world. They're getting a new film, and I think for right now, the theaters that are open, they're all about. A friend of mine in Germany went and saw Unhinged, the Russell Crowe film in Germany. Right. He had to fill out a form.
I remember you telling me about this.
And so the theaters that are open are going to be practicing the best kind of social distancing. I think that this is a win for everyone. It's a win for me because, damn it, John, I just want to go into a theater and see a movie. And I love the New Mutants, and the Demon Bear storyline. I wanted to see this movie. Every time I see clips from it, I get that much more aroused, John. This movie's exciting to me. I can't wait to see it. Please release it, and please put it out in August. Please, I just want to go to the movie theater again.
Speaking of the Demon Bear, and speaking of clips, about 24 minutes into that panel, they showed us the opening scene of New Mutants and a new kind of teaser cut after it. Look, I know there's been a lot of question marks. I know there have been a lot of question marks around New Mutants. I don't care. This looked awesome.
Right?
I thought it looked fantastic. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, but I thought it looked incredible.
Dude, I mean, look, Josh Boone is a great director. And the fact that he did this, and think about this. I think about this a lot. I pondered this a lot. So Josh Boone directed New Mutants. You know what else he directed? The remake, the miniseries, The Stand, which is about a global pandemic destroying the world. The poor guy makes New Mutants, and then his next project is a giant miniseries about a global pandemic. If anybody needs some goodwill, Josh Boone needs it. I will go just to support him.
I decided to make this the topic of today's question of the day, and I put it to you guys and wanted to ask you. So earlier I put up a poll in the community tab of the YouTube channel and asking you guys simply this. Disney just announced at Comic-Con the New Mutants is still planning on opening on August 28th. Will it? Almost 5,000 of you guys have voted. Only 20% of you guys are saying, yes, it's going to open on time. 80% of you are saying, no, it'll get bumped again. I'd be curious to take this poll again now that I've made my little theory known that, you know what? I think they will, just to put it in theaters, just to fulfill their contractual obligations, and then they can put it up on streaming in 3 or 4 months, having played by all the rules and kept everybody happy. I'd be curious to take this poll again to see if you guys agree. But anyway, that's there right now. But for now, I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think there is a chance that they could meet this August 28th date and just put it out in whatever theaters are still there? Or do you think, nah, cooler heads are going to prevail, they're going to bump it again? I just don't know. If you're going to bump it, why not announce it at Comic-Con? But anyway, where are you guys thinking about that right now? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.